Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you've joined us for our Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. The next presentation is from Kodiak Copper. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting. At this point, I am very pleased to welcome Nancy Curry, Vice President of Corporate Development of Kodiak Copper, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol KDKCF and on TSXV under the symbol KDK. Welcome, Nancy.
Thanks, Lily. First, people, I'm so sorry. We had some technical challenges this morning and my camera is not working, and I'm actually calling in. So if there's any little hiccups here, I apologize. But thank you, everyone, for attending the OTC virtual conference. Kodiak Copper is an exploration company focused on generating shareholder value through the discovery of what is arguably the most important critical metal in both traditional and future-based economies. Our flagship project is our MVD Copper Gold project located in British Columbia, Canada. In 2025, we reached a big milestone, releasing our maiden mineral resource estimate, which was very well received by the market. And our 2026 program is positioned to build on that growth success for shareholders. So an opportune time to look at Kodiak Copper. I will be making some forward-looking statements and advise you to go to our website for relevant guidance. Kodiak has a powerful story built on 4 key pillars. First, proven management. This is a team with a demonstrated track record of creating real shareholder value, not just advancing projects, but delivering results through cycles. Second, high-quality assets in world-class jurisdictions. Kodiak's projects are located in mining-friendly regions with strong infrastructure, clear regulatory frameworks, which significantly reduces and enhances development potential. Third, copper macro tailwinds. As electrification accelerates globally, copper is becoming increasingly critical, and we're heading towards a meaningful supply deficit. Kodiak is well positioned to benefit from the structural demand growth. And finally, a strong capital structure with supportive shareholders. The company is backed by a solid investor base that understands the long-term vision and provides stability as Kodiak continues to advance. So put it all together, and Kodiak represents a compelling opportunity. Strong leadership, quality assets, and a powerful commodity cycle. So let's get into the opportunity in more detail. Why do we at Kodiak think copper is the right place for investors? I'm sure this audience has heard repeatedly the need for copper and how many governments are making it a critical metal due to its importance. Copper demand is driven by a number of sectors that are growing very rapidly: the energy transition, electrification, and technology like AI. The copper demand from these sectors are much more copper intensive than the technologies they are replacing. So no doubt we'll see strong copper demand for the years, if not decades, to come. But if you look at the supply side of the metal, the picture is a very different story. This graph shows the supply-demand forecast from S&P Global. It's a very similar story to many other market commentators as well. The consensus is a deficit opening up in the years to come. I don't think I've seen a single market commentator who predicts a surplus, and in many cases, the deficit predicted is larger. This projection has a deficit of over 10 million tons. And what does that mean? It translates to multiple big mines required to meet that demand. Here is probably the biggest challenge to that demand, the lack of discoveries. I believe this graphic clearly demonstrates why the experts are warning of a copper shortage. Look at the copper discoveries over the last 25 years. You can see the discovery trend has moved steeply downward, and in particular in the last 10 years. There have not been many copper discoveries at all, and there has not been a single big copper discovery. This is critical to the supply market, as given it takes approximately 20 years on average to build a copper mine from discovery to production, you can clearly see there will not be a new big mine coming into production in the next 10 years due to this lack of discovery. So new discoveries are very much needed, and that's exactly what Kodiak is focused on. As most investors in the exploration sector know, management is probably the most important pillar for successfully generating shareholder value. Let me start with the team behind the company. Chris Taylor is our founder and chairman. Many of you may know Chris from our sister company, Great Bear, which was a massive discovery success, sold to Kinross for 1.8 billion Canadian, so a huge success for Chris and Great Bear shareholders. Chris is a very creative, out-of-the-box thinking geologist, and what he brought to Great Bear, he also brings to Kodiak, where he leads our technical team and has been a big part of our success. Our CEO, Claudia Tornquist, is an engineer by training and has been in the resource industry for over 20 years. She spent approximately 10 of those years with Rio Tinto in London, gaining valuable experience in business development, project evaluation, plus M&A. And if you've ever met the two of them, you'll know why I call them the dynamic duo. Their skill sets are very complementary to each other. Also on this slide, you'll see John Robbins. He is a very successful mining entrepreneur and has been around for many decades with an established track record of generating significant value for shareholders. John has put together what is called Discovery Group, a fantastic group to be part of. Discovery Group is essentially a loose alliance of companies, all independent of one another, but we all work out of the same office. What that means is there's just a lot of sharing of expertise, industry contacts, relationships, and technical knowledge. So it's a really, really good network. For our shareholders, more importantly, Discovery Group has been around for many, many years and had many successes. Over $2.6 billion in returns for shareholders by companies in the group. It has a lot of credibility and a good name, and many investors really like the fact Kodiak is part of this group. It gives them confidence that companies in the group are well managed with solid projects, so I very much believe that being part of Discovery makes Kodiak a stronger company. Now let's get into our MPD project. Jurisdiction and location are key value drivers for resource companies. Our flagship MPD project is located in southern British Columbia, an established mining jurisdiction. It is very accessible, only a 3-hour or so drive up the highway from Vancouver. This location gives Kodiak many advantages. We can work year-round, have infrastructure in place, access to skilled workforce, plus work in communities and with First Nations that understand the benefits of resource development. We are also located between two big copper mines. Hudbay's Copper Mountain to the south, Canada's third largest copper mine, and a very close geological analog to our MPD project. To the north is Teck's Highland Valley, Canada's largest copper mine. I can't highlight enough the significance of location. It means our exploration costs are very cost effective. For example, exploration costs are much lower than, say, the high Andes or in remote areas of Canada. That's a big advantage now and will be an even bigger advantage in the future when it comes to building and operating a mine. It's a whole lot easier and cheaper to do so in an existing mining district. Another important point to highlight is the MPD project is a consolidation story. On this map, you see various pieces of land that we have put together over a span of 7 years, highlighted in different colors. Some of these claim packages had significant historic exploration on them. In total, we had over 500 historic drill holes, 70,000 meters of drilling that we could draw upon. A value that is worth $20, $30+ million to replicate today. So a significant value for our shareholders. With so much historic exploration and lots of proven copper and gold mineralization over a big footprint, you might ask, why did nobody else before us make it a success? The simple reason is there was multiple different operators over a span of decades who did all this work, but it was all done on small land packages, not on a consolidated package like what we have. Creating critical mass really was the first step to Kodiak demonstrating that the MPD project has the potential to become a mine of size. Not only have we consolidated the district, we have also drilled around 90,000 meters ourselves, so big drill programs for several years. This map shows where we are now. We have 7 significant deposits highlighted by the larger gold dots on this map. And in December 2025, we announced a major milestone for the company and came out with our maiden mineral resource for the project. This milestone was very well received by the market. And here's a summary of it. We announced 83 million tons indicated and 356 million tons inferred, with grades between 0.32 and 0.39 copper equivalent. That gives us, if you add the indicated and inferred, 2.4 billion pounds of copper and 1.7 million ounces of gold. As I said, this was our maiden resource, was very well received by the market, simply because it very much puts us on par with what you see in producing mines in North America and other successful projects that are moved forward. It was a big step forward in de-risking our project, a big positive for MPD. And on the right here, you see images of our 7 open pits as they stand now. So the focus of our 2026 program, which we recently announced has started, is set up to be another significant value-generating year for the company. We view the maiden mineral resource as a base value of the project, and will focus on increasing the size of the resource on all 7 deposits, which are still open in multiple directions, and many of them have obvious expansion potential. The image on this slide are just 2 examples for growth. The top image is our Adda deposit, one of our higher grade deposits from surface. You can see we did a 200-meter step out. Hopefully you can see right there, circling my mouse. From the deposit, and unfortunately, we lost that hole just as we got into mineralization. It was the last hole of the season, but it did end significantly in 4 meters of 0.64 copper, and it has a verified AI anomaly associated with it. So it's obviously an expansion target with great grade potential, and an area we'll look at drilling this year for sure. The image on the bottom is where we have started this year's program, the Ketchen deposit. You can see a 300-meter gap right here. That is really only due to lack of drilling. We got this project at the end of 2024 and actually put it into the resource last year, but have not drilled it ourselves. This is from historic drilling. So the previous operators had stepped out to find the expansion, and I guess the market turned and didn't go back to fill it in. So we'll go, it's just a lack of drilling density. We'll go back and drill in here. Plus, there was another hole, 400 meters, that hit mineralization, an exploration hole. So there, again, you've got some good mineralization. You're seeing two opportunities on catching where we believe we can significantly increase the resource there. So these are examples of some pretty low-hanging fruit for resource expansion, and I believe clearly demonstrates the growth potential of our main resource, and we believe we can make a material impact to the current resource with this year's program. So lots of room to make these deposits bigger. It's also important to highlight that there is plenty of additional discovery potential on MPD. We currently have, in addition to the 7 deposits, 36 targets across the property, as shown on this map. Some of them are conventional exploration targets with soils and geophysics. Others are verified AI targets, and some are both. This year, we will advance many of them, some of them with geophysics and soil sampling, et cetera, and some of them we want to drill. I'll highlight only one here, but there are lots of great targets. One of the interesting targets is Tau, which is the image on the slide. It was first identified by Verify AI as an area of interest. We went and did some soil sampling and prospecting and found a soil anomaly that is coincident with the verified target. It is 700 meters south and on trend with our Addit and South deposits, so it makes a high priority target for us. We will go back, do some geophysics to define the target further, but it is on the list to test. We are very confident there's more to find on this project, and I can tell you that the market loves a new discovery hole. In addition to our flagship MPD project, we have our Mojave project in Arizona. It has been an asset that we have wanted to drill, but with the success and advancement of our MPD project, we hadn't. We just announced last week what we believe the best way to generate capture value of this project is to create a new copper company. We're very pleased to announce that Teck Resource will put in their Copper Hill project, and we will put in our Mojave project into what will become K Copper. The transaction is anticipated to generate synergies and unlock value that is not currently being recognized. Both of these projects are located in a premier jurisdiction within Arizona's prolific mining district with existing infrastructure. This area has produced 70% of U.S. copper production in 2025. Both projects have multiple drill-ready targets and permits in place, setting up an exciting exploration season ahead. We are also very pleased to announce that Adam Schatzker will become the CEO of K. Adam has over 25 years experience and a very successful track record. We are very lucky to have a person of Adam's caliber head up K. The value created here is that both Teck and Kodiak will receive 20 million shares each, or a 28% stake each in K, which will be focused on new discoveries. The transaction is anticipated to close in Q3 this year. K is well placed for a material share price increase with a pro forma market cap of approximately $18 million. Kodiak believes it's a great opportunity for a re-rating for K, as its U.S. peer companies are trading much higher. So a great opportunity to generate significant value in Kodiak for our shareholders. So with all that, 2026 is another significant year for Kodiak with many value-driving milestones. As I mentioned, our 2026 program has commenced with the first results anticipated in July and will continue throughout the year, culminating in an updated resource Q1 27. The K Copper transaction should be completed in Q3, which we think is another value driver, so lots of material news and catalysts coming up. Our share capital is another item to highlight. Our shareholders really like that we're a tightly held company with only 98 million shares outstanding and a cash position of approximately 8 million, fully funding the program we've announced. Kodiak has the ability to execute large exploration programs, advancing the project, and has kept dilution down. Cormark covers us, and Paradigm recently initiated coverage on us, and with our plans for this year, we anticipate more coverage to follow. To finish up, I'd like to leave you with our value proposition. I would argue that Kodiak is still very much undervalued compared to our peers. These are some of the companies that are more advanced than we are. These are companies who have already completed an updated resource or PEA, so a year or two ahead of us, with our valuation at approximately 90 million mark, and many of these others like Faraday, North Isle, Copper Fox are closer to $500 million or $1 billion. That, for us, is the opportunity for our shareholders. As we grow our resource, I think we have a very good chance that we'll be able to close that valuation gap. As the market appreciates that what we have has size potential and looks in terms of grade and everything else very similar to what these peers have been able to progress successfully. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope I've outlined why we believe now is an opportune time for Kodiak, and I hope you will consider it in your portfolio. I thank you for your time and would be happy to answer any questions. Okay, let me just look here, sorry. So copper-focused investors are increasingly searching for projects in stable jurisdictions. How important is that Canada-U.S. exposure mixed for Kodiak when you talk to new institutions? It's exceedingly important. Jurisdictions having clear-cut permitting processes, very important. Stable governments is very key. There's been, I would say, a big shift over the last few years for finding sources closer to home as well. So having a project in BC and then now becoming a large shareholder in a U.S.-based asset, I think adds to Kodiak's value. K Copper is expected to start with an 18 million market cap with peer comps trading much higher. What early milestones do you see driving the re-rating there? Great question. So first, we'll get K up and trading, which we are anticipating is Q3. As I mentioned, both projects have drill-ready targets. The company has plans to drill this year, so drill success will be an important driver. It was mentioned using Verify and AI for target generation. Have those tools already led to any specific drill targets you're especially excited about in 2026? There are targets. There are targets. The AI, Verify AI, has generated. Tau was one. It was first generated by AI, and then we went back and did another layer of exploration on it, soil sampling, etc. So it is a very useful tool for us to help pinpoint areas of interest. It's also helping guide some drilling for resource expansion. If you recall the adit deposit I mentioned, we had that 200-meter step-out hole that unfortunately, due to some tough drilling conditions, we had lost, but ended up in mineralization. That is also reconfirmed by an AI target, so very high priority for us for resource expansion. Oh, I'm sorry. Given the clear valuation gap to peers, what concrete steps is the leadership team taking on the capital markets, marketing side to get the story in front of a wider institutional audience? So, again, I think what you're seeing is especially with that peer comparison, you can see a clear path for us over the next year or two. Adding Paradigm in coverage is now having two companies cover us, is giving us a wider reach into some of the institutions. But I also, we have a great shareholder base who have been with us and for a long time, high net worth, retail, and given us the time. So having that balance is really, really optimal. But with this main resource out, that has also opened up a bigger audience for us institutionally, because now they can give us a value, where before, when we were doing all of our exploration and testing these targets and, showing that they had size, we couldn't actually tell people pounds in the ground. So now we're showing we have a base value in that maiden resource. We're demonstrating the resource expansion potential and believe that we can significantly, materially increase that resource size, plus have, at this point, 36 other targets that need testing. So are very confident we're going to be able to add to the value of or discover more zones on the project for the pipeline. Oh, I see I'm running out of time here. Let me just try and get another one in. So the company highlighted valuation gap to more advanced peers on your slide. What specific de-risking steps in 2026, 2027 do you think will close that gap? Doing an updated resource showing that the maiden resource was a base value, so increasing the size of the resource base. And then also, I think you'll see down the road the potential for a preliminary economic assessment. So you see like Faraday and North Isle have PEAs and the valuation. So you can really see the path that we are on, putting an updated resource out, drilling for new discoveries, moving the project forward towards PEA. Well, I'm now over 30 minutes, so I'd like to thank you all for your time. Please feel free, there were some more questions there I just didn't have time to get to. Please feel free to reach out to the company, myself, and just put up the contacts there. I'd be happy to have discussions further, and I thank you all very much for your time.